Hi, I'm Rob. I'm Rob Tice. I'm one of the clinical practitioners at Pain Management Solutions, and I'm based in Leeds. And what I'm talking about today is what we call sighted guiding for people that are blind and partially sighted. And so the idea of this is to help you to understand what are the proper etiquette and the safest ways to be able to help someone with a visual impairment to be able to physically navigate the moving around in terms of coming to an appointment, so that when you take them from the waiting room to the clinic room and back again and anything kind of in between, that we're doing it in a way that makes them feel most comfortable and most safe. It's all fairly common sense stuff, and it's going to seem fairly obvious, but it's just useful to have a practice with this in person with someone else that you work with. Grab a blindfold or just close your eyes and practice this stuff that I'm saying, so that not only do you have an appreciation of what it feels like, but so that when you actually come to working with somebody, you've had a bit of practice. Don't be scared when doing this kind of stuff. Remember that although you might be a bit new to it, they've had lots of experience at it. So yeah, you're very unlikely to do something wrong. I'm showing you this as part of our kind of initiative through Pain Management Solutions to try and make our services accessible as possible for people who are disabled. And my background to this is that although I'm a physiotherapist, I spent a long period working in disability sport, working with people who are blind and partially sighted in particular, from grassroots sports with young disabled children through to working at an international level with a Paralympic sport called goalball, which is worth looking up if you have more interest in working with people who are blind and partially sighted. So on to the important stuff. So one of the most important things to kind of do when you meet somebody is to actually find out what level of assistance they require. We can be easily tripping over ourselves to try and help, but the amount of assistance someone requires is really quite vast in terms of the differences. So when you're approaching someone to try and establish what kind of help they need, first of all, confirm who they are, so address them by name and introduce yourself. Those two things are really important in that order, so that you call them by their name first, so they know that when they're sat in a waiting room of people, you are talking to them and not someone around them. Quickly followed by who you are, so they've quickly got an idea of who they're talking to. So so I'd walk up to to somebody, I'd say, is that Mr. Smith? Mr. Smith, my name's Rob. I'm working for Pain Management Solutions. Do you need any assistance? Really simple question, but that could open up quite a range of different possibilities that somebody might need in terms of assistance. So some people might not need any assistance whatsoever. They might tell you they're going to be guided by a family member, or they might ask that you guide them. We'll then go into kind of the different preferences and things with that in a moment. Some things to kind of look out for that might be an indicator to you that someone might have with them. So in terms of canes, they might come with different forms of canes. So the white canes that people come with, there's two different types. There's the short ones, like so, which are called a symbol cane. And they are literally for that. They are a symbol. They aren't for practical use for prodding, poking or anything like that. So just because somebody has one of those doesn't mean that that's going to be how they get around. The long cane, which are the ones that are almost the length of a rake with a little ball on the end usually, allow someone to get some tactile idea quite simply of if they've hit something or not, if they're about to hit something like a curb, a step or a wall. Some people may be able to navigate independently with that, or they might need assistance with guiding as well. The same with a guide dog. If someone has a guide dog with them, that guide dog will be able to guide them following them giving the guide dog guidance, but if they've not been there before, they're going to need you to still lead the way, and they may still wish to take an arm and have you kind of guide them. So when we guide somebody, the way we do that is we don't physically take, pull, or anything like that with a person. They will be guided by them taking one of your elbows. And so if I was to ask someone for, if they wanted to be guided, so Mr. Smith in the waiting room, so, hello Mr. Smith, my name's Rob, I work for Pain Management Solutions. Do you need any assistance getting to the clinic room? And Mr. Smith might say, yes, I'd quite like guiding, please. And I'd then find out, okay, if, would you like me to offer you an elbow? They'll say yes or no. And if they say yes, we ask them if they have a preferred side, because some of them may prefer, for one reason or another, being on one side of you or the other, and that may be to do with normally using a cane, a dog, or quite simply that they're left hand dominant and prefer to have their left hand free. We're now going to go through some practical kind of scenarios with this. So we're going to go through, I'll show you the introducing myself to somebody, offering them an elbow and doing some general kind of walking around. We're going to go through going through doorways, helping someone to find a chair, and helping someone navigate a stairwell as well. Hello, is it Emily?
Yes, hello.
Hello Emily, it's Rob from Pain Management Solutions. I'm here to bring you to your appointment today. Do you need any assistance getting to the clinic room?
Yes, please. Can you guide me?
Guiding, sure, no problem. Right, have you got a preferred side for guiding? On your right. Okay, so I've got my elbow out for you there, so if you want to take that, should we have a stand up? Okay, so we're just going to head forwards and we're going to bear slightly left through an open doorway. So, just come with me, I'm going to turn right now as well. Just going to bear slightly to our right here, Emily, and then we're going to straighten up and just come with me as we go straight ahead. And we're just going to come to a stop for a moment. So when going through doorways, it's going to be you that's guiding that's going to actually initiate the opening of the door, but it's very important that the person that you're guiding is on what we call the hinge side of the door. So they're closest to that side, so that as you go through, they can have their hand on the door, so that they can control at all times whether, you know, how the door is open, so that they don't feel insecure about that. So if you were approaching the door and you were already, you know, away from the hinge side, their hinge side, fine. If it's the other way around, so that you're approaching hinge side, you would simply ask them to swap over and take your other arm to go through the door. So for this, if you want to pop your blindfold back on Emily, and we'll do this one. So if you want to take my arm, okay, so, and we're off. So we're approaching a door, Emily. So can I reach your hand out for the door just in front of you? So it's opening away from us. I'm going through first. Have you still got your hand on the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Step through and feel your hand to the edge of the door and let go when you're there. Okay, as you saw in the demonstration then, we were going through a door that was opening away from us. The same principle is in place when you're using a door that opens towards you, in that you would initiate the opening of the door, that other person then takes their door, but you just need to make sure when you do initiate that you leave enough room for the door when it opens, that person isn't going to be caught by it. When doing stairs with somebody, what's important to do when you're bringing somebody to a set of stairs is to tell them, first of all, whether the stairs are going up or down. Preferably, if there is a handrail, bring them to the side that actually has a handrail if there's only one side that does. If you've got a choice of both, it's usually easier just for them to approach on the side they already are, unless they have a distinct preference and they prefer being on the other side. You tell them how many steps you're going to do as well, and as you get towards the bottom, you tell them when they're reaching the final step. So Emily, if you want to take my arm, so we're approaching the stairs in about 2 steps time, and so if you want to reach out for your right hand, the banister's on your right hand side, and there's 8 steps going downwards from it. So if you want to come towards the top step and feel the edge for it there, you there?
Got it.
Okay, yeah, so if we make our way down and you're in control of the speed. Okay, coming down the last couple of steps here, Emily. And this is the last step, so just feel for the edge, and we're done here. So if you want to let go of the banister, and we're going to turn to the left to walk away. Okay, the only other things really to add into all of that is that if you're helping someone to navigate around the clinic room in terms of getting into a chair, plinth, that sort of thing, give them a running commentary of what you're trying to navigate around, where it is in relation to where they are now, and if you're asking them to sit, you know, on something or something like that, then the arm that you're guiding them with, if you reach that arm and put it out on that thing, such as the chair, they can run their hand down your arm and feel where that chair, that plinth is, that sort of thing. Some people may have individual preferences, you know, slight variations on what I've said, but this is the general kind of way that we teach people. But if someone prefers to take you by put their hand on your shoulder as opposed to your elbow, that sort of thing, that's normal, and that's just their individual preference. If you've got any questions, queries, problems about this sort of stuff, I'm happy to be contacted for advice. So my email address will be made available alongside this video, and if you've got any other kind of queries rather than just the stuff that we talked about today, but for example adapting exercises, that sort of thing, if you're working with someone who is visually impaired, I'm happy to answer any of those questions in principle, or direct you to local agencies as that helps required. Get stuck in, practice this stuff with somebody, and have fun.